10x1c says, are you not scared about AI taking over human jobs? Yeah, it's a big problem. I talked about this briefly. I think the impact it's going to have from an economics point of view is it's going to knock the base out of a lot of industries, and then we will have increased unemployment. When we have increased unemployment, we don't have as much money circulating in the economy to buy things, which means other companies there's an impact on them because they're not able to sell anything. And that's what capitalism is underpinned by: people working so they can make money to spend on things that is being built by the people who are working. Capitalism as a whole could be in trouble. We have to remember that's the system we've only had for 200 to 300 years, capitalism. So while it seems like the paradigm that should always be here, that is not necessarily the case. This is not me sticking on my communist hat and saying take down the system. But I think we need to be realistic about the fact that if we have an economy where work is devalued, human work is devalued, then we need to have another basis for how our economy is. I'm not smart enough to answer that question, but we need to start thinking about that as humanity, because something's going to happen. We just don't know what it is yet. Yuval Harari, what's his name? The guy who wrote Sapiens. He did an interview and he said, this is the first time in human history that we have no idea what the world is going to look like 10, 20 years from now. Previously, we've always known the trajectory. We know roughly where the technology is going. We know roughly the kind of drift of history, and it'd be punctuated by wars, punctuated by revolutions, etc. But this is the first time where we don't know. Like, the world 20 years from now could be completely unrecognizable to the world today. And we need to start discussing that and getting ready for it. Burying our head in the sand won't do anything about it. So yeah, I am scared. I think in the long run, it's where humanity is going and it will be beneficial. That doesn't help the people right now who will be losing their jobs, and the people over the next 10, 20, 30 years who will not be able to work, who will not have money. That doesn't help those people. But I think in the long run, 50, 100 years from now, this is where we need to go. But that progress is going to hurt people in the short to medium term, unfortunately. Where to start learning more about AI to become an expert and be hired in that area? So as I just said to Paul, if you are not a technical expert, don't try to be. There's no need. What we need are people who can communicate why AI is important to people in our industries. So I would focus on communication. I'd focus on public speaking. Yes, absolutely build a solid base knowledge of AI. Start with deeplearning.ai. It's not my site, but it's a really good website. Start with Andrej Karpathy's videos on YouTube and three blue, one brown. Still can't say it. I mentioned them earlier on in live as well. They're going to give you a decent foundation in how AI works. You do not need to fully understand or be able to build models yourself to be able to help people. So in the same way that we use the internet every single day, but if I asked in chat, what does HTTPS stand for? Or what is a URL? What does a URL stand for? How does a URL work? Most people can't answer that. That does not matter, because we use the internet on a daily basis. And that's where we are right now, where we need to start teaching normal people, lay people, non-technical people, how to use AI to better their lives and to avoid the job losses that will be coming. That, I think, is where you should be focusing, not on getting a PhD in machine learning, not on the complicated mathematics required to build models, but instead we take it down a few layers of abstraction and we focus on how we can help people to actually use AI on a daily basis. Bro just gives out pure alpha. Thank you. 10x1c is saying, feels like more jobs will be taken and emerge. Big corporations are saying they're slashing. Yeah. So some of it is due to overhiring, especially in the tech sector, but that argument is getting thinner and thinner as we move further and further away from COVID. Yeah, it looks like they're slashing, Microsoft famously, but also the non-creation of new roles looks like where we are going. The idea that AI will create new jobs is, yes, absolutely. It will create people who have to make and maintain AIs. Absolutely. There will be some. There will not be as many. So with previous technologies, so the plow, the printing press, the computer, etc., the calculator, these technologies all demolished jobs. So we no longer needed certain jobs. We created the plow, so we didn't need, we created a tractor, so we didn't need as many plow horses, for example. But it would always replace the jobs. They continue to create jobs. I think it's different this time because AI is a different type of technology. So up until now, the technologies we have created have been tools that we can use. AI is different because AI can be the operator of the tools. We can give the AI multiple tools and it can work out how to use them. So this is different. This is not replacing a tool like the plow or the abacus. This is replacing us, human intelligence and cognition. Obviously, the terms, intelligence, etc., we don't want to get into the murky waters of that, but it can replace wholesale a human being, whereas previously the technologies generally required an operator. That is no longer the case. So I think we're going to see a different shift this time because AI can use tools. It is not just a tool, it is an operator. And in many cases, it is a better operator than human beings.